45 plus minus.
Basically, anybody else live up that area? Most of the people that live in the development I'm in all work in the Bay Area, but we keep moving further away because house prices keep going.
All right. Thank you so much for coming today. This is awesome. This is what I would like to see on Saturdays, because we usually don't get this many people. But also we notice that depending on the topic presented is, how many audience we have on the day, right? So anyways, for the ones who don't know me yet, we've been here for about 7 years, but in case you haven't heard of us or know me, my name is Marco Palacios. I'm one of the co-founders of Pacific Hackers, and I'm currently the president for the Pacific Hackers Association. And what we are basically a 501c3 nonprofit organization where our goal is to fix the main issues in cybersecurity, right? We're trying to fix, the diversity issue. We want more women in the field. We want more people of color, right? So we want to, that's the reason why we create all these events for you guys to network and get into the field if you are not already in the field. Number two, the education system. We know that a lot of schools are teaching cybersecurity, and that's great. But sometimes the stuff presented is either outdated or, at the end of the day, when the students graduate, don't have the right skills to go into the workforce, right? And that's what we're trying to fix. We're trying to teach you or offer things that, again, when you graduate and you come to our meetups, you're literally ready to go into the workforce. And the third and most important part is the HR system, right? If you see junior positions, as soon as you see like the requirements and you see that it requires a CISSP for a junior, then at that point it's not a junior, right? We know that CISSP, you're required to have a 5 years of experience. Obviously, coming out of school, you're not going to have that. So again, what we do is we're trying to connect you with hiring managers. So I know there has been many layoffs recently. So if someone in the room is hiring, please, just when you network, let them know that you're hiring so people can apply in your company. Or if you're looking, if you want to, say something, I'll give you the floor. But yeah, this is how I actually got into the position, not the current position I have, but the current company I have, I'm working for. I was given a presentation, a long time ago, and that was my interview. 5 days later, I got hired by the company. So again, I want the same for you. I want you, if you would like to present or something, here is an opportunity, right? So and we have many opportunities throughout the year, and I'll discuss them. So again, I don't know how you heard about us, but again, we've been here for 7 years. See, this is our meetup page, meetup.com/Pacific Hackers. And we have meetups every month. They differ from, sometimes they're workshops, sometimes they're just talks. January 27th, it's our or actually kind of like our next one. We might, and just be on the log, sign up for the Pacific Hackers meetup page and turn on the notifications, because we might have the Winter Fest that we usually do, sometime in the mid-December. This year it was a little bit different because we are actually having the Pacific Hackers Conference in 2 weeks. So it's already in December. So sometimes we don't have 2 events in 1 month, but we can make it happen if you guys are interested. So with that, let me tell you about the conference. So this year, on December 2nd, we're going to have the 4th edition of Pacific Hackers Conference. We started in 2018, then 2019, and obviously, for obvious reasons, 2020 and 2021, we did not happen, but it happened last year, right? And we were the first meetup groups, cybersecurity groups, that during the pandemic had in-person events. Like we were the first one back in December 2021. And then from there, we just continue doing, because we know that by you being here and network with people, you can get to the next level. So we believe in that. And that's the reason why we prepare for that, okay? So again, December 2nd, call for papers. We already have the speakers. So if you go to phack.org, you can look at the speakers. We have great talks. We have great workshops. So again, the cost for it is $35, and also I've been promoting it. So there is a code for 25% off. So if you are interested, please let me know. And with that being said, I did promote it through Meetup, but not just because you sign up on Meetup, that doesn't mean that's a free entrance. You still have to register to Eventbrite, okay? Also, for Hackers Loyal members, if you're a monthly or yearly paying member, you come in for free because this is your facility, right? But send me an email and I'll make that happen. So I'm still looking for volunteers. So if you would like to get involved, please let me know. And also, if you look on the other side of the flyers, we are actually partnering up with a 500 Fortune company, and we're basically gonna do a cyber exercise. Basically, they're gonna replicate the network. The blue team is gonna be in their side, and we're gonna be on the other side. So if you are interested, if you know someone who wants to try, skills, you don't have to be a, pro. This is the reason why we do this. So you can see a real network and hack it ethically, right? So again, if you're interested, please ping me. And yeah. And then this is a Discord server. Hopefully this works, because every time I put it, it changes on me. Okay. So this is we're hackers, right? So this one you can trust. Okay. We're gonna talk about QR codes in a little bit. But this one you can trust. If you want to be part of the community, we're actually building the community. For many years, we were using a different, a sisters meetup Discord server. But I mean, it's time for us to do our own. So it started back in May. We don't have that many members, but again, that's the reason why we're building this community, right? So please sign up, contribute, share tweets, X's or now, however you want to call it now, but X's, whatever you want to. Don't send malware. Although we might create a malware channel, so if you want to share malware, perfectly fine, because then we know it's malware for educational purposes. Okay, so all right, and then well, last but not least, we need your help, and sometimes it's not about money. Sometimes it's about you making the impact to others. So spread the word, tell your friends and family, and who knows who we are, what we do, and what we're trying to achieve. Send us referrals. If you know someone who wants to get into cybersecurity, they don't know where to start, send them our way. We will be more than happy to sit down with them and point them to the right direction. If you're hiring, please let us know. We have been able to place people from this group into different companies, okay, including NASA. So just FYI. Sharing knowledge. If you would like to present, there has been many people here that have come to Pacific Hackers that now they're speaking at RSA, DEF CON, Black Hat. Okay, so but you have to start somewhere. I'm providing the platform for you guys to share that knowledge. Okay, a sponsorship. If your company would like to sponsor, doesn't have to be big, but any little donation, will help, especially for the things that we're trying to achieve, and stuff, and help other members as well. Okay, so speaking of which, all the fees for the conference, again, it's only $35. Even though they're not a lot, it just goes straight to the nonprofit to help do other things. We're gonna have different events. Actually, let me so this is a Pacific Hackers Conference. Check the Meetup page, because we're going to have other events as well. On December 8th, we're going to have the it's an annual gala. So usually it used to be just open for women in security, but this year we're just opening it to everyone. So it's going to be in Auckland. So again, help us, because all the donations there are going to go to the girls in tech in Auckland. Okay, so again, we're working also with other nonprofits to promote women in security, women in tech and stuff. So this is what we do. And last but not least, before I turn to the men and the meet, here's my contact. You want to get a hold of me? Email, LinkedIn is like those two places where I spend the most time, and Twitter, X. I didn't check it as much, but I definitely respond. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. So today we have a great workshop that eventually we're trying to do is we're going to actually try to teach this class as a full 1 day, 2 day, who knows? We did this, we started last year, as part of the, conference trainings. And it went very well, but one of the feedbacks that we got from people is the class was too long, or it was too much information for 1 day. So we're probably gonna, try to expand it to 2 days because, right in front of here, you have a person who, I admire, number one, and two, that's very knowledgeable about wireless. So any questions about wireless, here's your go-to person. So with that, I'm gonna turn it to Phil. He has spoken many times at the conference, has given workshops many throughout the years, and he's doing it again. So he's gonna be one of the speakers for Pacific Hackers. Also, again, today is just a workshop, and this is just a sample of what could you be learning in a potential class that we're trying to promote. So again, with that, here's Phil.
I maybe need this, but I can leave it. I appreciate it. This is a good community. People of Marcus caliber saying we can over, but I really appreciate it. Can you not hear it?
Can you hear him or no?
It's not amplified.
I can go loud. Not better? Yeah. I use the mic. So when people at Marcus caliber say that they appreciate me, that really means a lot. And the thing is, we all start in the same place, all right? We all start maybe zero. I saw an article the other day that if you spend 20 minutes a day on something you love, in a year's time, you'll be very knowledgeable and you'll be up. They actually said you'll be in the top 95% of people that know whatever that subject is, biology, chemistry, physics, or hacking. And so let's have some fun. Where did that Ethernet cable go?
Oh, the HDMI.
That's that one. What about the how long is the Ethernet? Oh, back. Thank you, man. I'm totally prepared.
Oh, there you go.
I've had so many problems over the years that I bring everything I need.
I'm trying to use this.
Does it work though?
Owner is the password. That reminds me, if you're using one of my computers, depending which one you're using, that one, well, owner, it's usually it's the same for the username. So Kali or owner, perception of one computer that is Kali and then tour. Yeah, so but instead of O's or zeros, I think something like that. I wrote it down on the sticky note, just like, that's what we should be doing, right? Write passwords on the sticky note. So anyways, bad example for cyber awareness, but here we go. Yeah.
So the lifelong question, if anyone can answer this, I would truly appreciate it. Why is it, whatever you do, it's always 2 inches too short? Always, right? Literally, it's 2 inches too short. We got them. There you go. Okay, right. Bear with me a second, sorry. All right, if at any time you can't hear me, let me know and I'll fix it. All right. Right, okay. Hello, welcome. I will make these slides available afterwards as a PDF, so I'm going to whiz through a lot of them because you don't really care about the company I work for, who I am. The information's there if you want to go look it up. I think I put my email address up there. I may not have done. So yes, there's my email address and my contact information. That's all good. So this is for educational purposes only. What I'm going to talk about and teach you today is real, right? If you do this out of the military base, they will come after you, right? They can catch you. So you do agree that me, Marco, Pacific Hackers and Network Hacker Dojo are not responsible for what you do. I'm going to be honest. There's about 40 of you. We assume a 10% wastage ratio. So 4 of you will probably do something stupid in the next week, right? Please don't, right? All joking aside, please don't. This is real, okay? You're not allowed to hack into your neighbor's Wi-Fi, okay? A famous hotel chain started doing de-authentication attacks against people on their network. They said it was for security. The FCC heard about it, took them to court, fined them $50,000 or something. They appealed, and the new judge came on and said, so you were making people disconnect from their, you know the My Wi-Fi from Verizon? They were disconnecting people's My Wi-Fis, right? They said, we did it for security. And the old judge said, about 50K. I forget the exact numbers, you can look it up. The new judge came along and said, so you're disconnecting people from connecting to their own Wi-Fi, and you have a Wi-Fi service, right? Yes. And you charge for your Wi-Fi service, right? Yes. And the judge says, nah, bam, $500,000, right? Because they were de-authenticating people, making them connect to their Wi-Fi system. And they then went, okay, we'll give up now, and they paid the fine. So there are real consequences of what we're doing, enough said. So as Marco said, we're here now. We're going to do theory demo. I want to make this as practical as we can. I want you to do stuff. So I might whiz through some of the slides. There's fundamental things you need to know before we can go on. On December the 2nd, I'm going to talk what to use and where do we go with Wi-Fi security. Hint, it's WPA3. Right? That you don't need to come for that talk now because you know it. I'm kidding. We're going to talk about why it's WPA3. What are the problems with WPA3? Does anybody know? Are you using WPA3 in your office? Anybody know if you are? Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. 1 out of 40. I think my work is cut out here today, guys. And the reality is, it's not easy to turn on WPA3, and there are reasons why, and you'll learn about why and how to solve them in that talk. And then, as Marco says, we're trying to get a 1 or maybe a 2-day course. The reality is, this is not hard, but it's new to you if you don't know it. All right, and so there is quite an uphill curve to doing Wi-Fi hacking. But once you do it the first time, you get this wondrous sense, because you actually hacked into your own computer network, of course, right? For testing purposes, for educational purposes. All right, this is what we're going to talk about. Let's get on with it. Right, general rules. If it's not yours, leave it alone. It's not silent. Contrary to what you see on Hollywood and the television, federal authorities are not that stupid, and they have unlimited resources. If you want to piss them off and take them on, I'll come visit you in prison later, right? For real, right? I might not. Do not believe what you see on TV, okay? Don't be stupid, okay? There's a general rule that I have from anybody know the movie? Oh, what's it called? Forgotten the movie. Bruce Willis, the girl from space, who's the Fifth Element, right? It's called Ectogamma. There comes a point in the movie where he kisses her, and she grabs a gun, points it to his head, and says, Ectogamma, Ectogamma, Ectogamma. And as he's walking out, he says to the priest, what does Ectogamma means? And it means never without my permission. Okay? Right? So you never attack people's networks, pen test or otherwise, without their permission if it's somebody else's network. Signed permission, signed by an authority of the company. All right, so very quickly, can I ask you all to stand up for me, please? Just stand up, stand up, stand up. Quickly, raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will only use my superpowers for good. You may sit down. Marco, that's how I get out of jail.
Yeah, here you go. It's recorded, by the way.
First introduction to Wi-Fi hacking. How many of you are connected to these networks? Look at your devices. You're not, because we aren't in a Marriott or a Courtyard or a Google Starbucks or a United Aeroplane, are we? You are not connected to these networks. You are connected to me. Let's see how many hungry victims we have. What I've done is, using these little USB devices hanging off my computer, I haven't enumerated it. I have not given you any IP addresses, right? But I just let you connect to me. This person has connected to me. And so what I've got here is I've got several. Who else have I got? Oh, something happened. It looks like it went into suspend mode. Doesn't matter. You get the idea. But people are connecting to H honors. Why? Because you connected to it last week or last month or shamefully last year. And your computer is going to be very helpful and try and automatically connect to things for you. The problem is you're not connecting to H honors, are you? You're connecting to me. You see how much fun this is? If I enumerated this and I give you an IP address, you would start connecting and you would start sending data through me. Get it? And there's more. What else did I do? I just did a couple of them, just to prove a point. So yeah, we haven't done that many. I did, I'll show you what I did in a minute. I did Marriott, I did all these. Marriott, H honors, Marriott rewards, Google Starbucks. Google Starbucks is a good one because we probably have all connected to that sometime in our life. So you should be going around your devices, clearing out these names. Okay, for real. Right, you're actually connected to me. All right, so basic security concepts. So inconvenience is the hacker's best friend, is what I always say. Every time I say the word inconvenient, you all want to shout back at me. Inconvenience is let's make this audience participation. All right. This creaky stage, it appears when I do that, it works when I do that, it stops. Okay. Mrs. Gov, you can't fix stupid. Some of the smartest word ever said, and you can't. Okay. You can help it somewhat, and we are not paranoid enough. Longer is better than complex. All right. You know about the CIA, the old joke, the CIA. Today we also have, as well as confidentiality, integrity, and availability, we also have authenticity, non-repudiation, and more today we are having privacy. Privacy is becoming the 6th column in the rules of security. Now, let me clarify something very importantly. Can you all hear me okay? Yes? Can I get a yes, Phil?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Like I said, audience participation. Wireless, when configured correctly, is as safe as Ethernet. Some would argue it's safer. Let me clarify for everybody who may not have been paying attention. Wireless, when configured correctly, is as secure as Ethernet. All right? Okay. Bit of history and security, who's who, the FCC specify the channels, frequencies, power levels, the IEEE create standards, the Wi-Fi Alliance fine-tune the standards and make them interoperable and test interoperability, and the IETF have loads of things that they've already created that we reuse, okay, like DHCP and CAPWAP and Radius and EAP and all sorts of things. Not Ethernet broadcast. Radio is broadcast, okay? So if you were talking to your AP as a unicast frame, you are broadcasting it into space. Get it? You have no control whatsoever who receives that signal. Okay? Quite often, people will walk around the outskirts of their building and they will say, we're okay, Phil. I cannot hear the signal on my iPhone outside the fence of my building. Okay? But I don't use an iPhone. Get it? Mm-hmm. And the problem is people don't understand a lot about basic physics of RF and Wi-Fi. Okay? An antenna is bidirectional. If I put an antenna on my access point and I focus the beam like a flashlight, the light goes in that direction. The energy from the radio frequency goes in that direction. If I put an antenna, a directional antenna on my laptop, it draws the light to me with the same strength that it focuses the light in that way. When you're looking at the moon through a telescope, turn it around, the moon is looking at you through the telescope, effectively is what's going on. That is a fundamental principle you must understand. When I can listen to your Wi-Fi from half a mile away in the Walmart car park, completely outside of your security perimeter, whether you work for NASA, the government, a bank, or whoever, okay? So I'm not going to attack you from inside the building. I'm not going to attack you because I'm a good boy. Ask my mom. Okay? Hackers are going to attack you from half a mile away, where they're away from the people with the guns. Okay? And this is real easy to do. It's not hard. Okay? So there are monsters in the world and we need to protect from them. So very basic functions. I hope you all know this. Most people in high school know this now. Wi-Fi starts off with, you have to find a Wi-Fi and you have to connect to it. Okay? So if you know better, talk to me later, it's fine. 6 gigahertz changes the rules a bit. Because you know there's a new frequency out there now. 6 gigahertz is the new cool frequency. All right. But let's talk about basic Wi-Fi for now, and we can fine-tune it later. You find the network because every approximately 100 milliseconds, approximately 10 times a second, the access point advertises, this is who I am, this is the name of my network, this is what you got to do to connect to me. Is everybody good at that? Everybody get that? Okay. It does this about 10 times a second. The exact timing we can talk about. Sure, question?
Yeah, if you're on the defense, the magnetic, or not magnetic, but metallic coatings that people put on the windows.
Yeah, it works.
Does that,
Yes.
does
Yeah.
that protect, or does it still go through walls or frames? Or...
So it's very difficult to completely protect, right? Imagine it's light. If you close the curtains, a little bit of light creeps out to the curtains. But that will severely impact my ability to access the network from further away. So if you coat the windows, put wallpaper on the walls, paint the walls. I actually went to a customer site once where they said, we got a problem, our Wi-Fi doesn't work. And I walk in and I'm like, it's clean. Okay, what changed? Nothing, because nothing ever changes, right? But it worked on Friday, but it doesn't work on Monday. All right, okay. The walls are very clean. Yeah, we decorated over the weekend. What did you put new wallpaper up? What wallpaper did you use? Or that metal back stuff from the local Home Depot that keeps heat in winter and heat out in summer. I'm like, metal backed wallpaper. Okay, you've just created every room as a Faraday cage. Okay, and it was interfering with the Wi-Fi. So we talk in something called decibels, that is a logarithmic method, but put simply, by changing the paint on the wall, if it's got like little metal flakes in it, it looks pretty. By changing the wallpaper with metal backing on it, that can reduce the signal that you receive. And so reducing that signal to 0 is very difficult, but if you can reduce it so that they have to be inside your fencing to pick up a signal, that's better. But then all I do is I use a bigger one of them. Does that make sense? So it's very difficult to stop it completely. A better spend of your time is to use proper encryption. So even if the bad guys hear it, they can't decrypt it. And that's more important. But that's a good point. You can reduce it. So first of all, you find the AP by listening for beacons. Okay. Now, today, clients don't like that. It's way too time consuming to just listen to beacons. You've got to go onto every channel. So today, the clients jump onto a channel and they send what's called a probe request. Are you out there, Hilton Honors? And any APs that are on that channel are bound to respond with, yes, I'm here. So the client has to learn about all the APs that are out there so it can connect to one. Now, this is very important. Write this down if you have a notebook. It is the client that is in control of who, what, when, and why, and how, right? It doesn't matter whether you're using Cisco, Meraki, Fortinet, Ruckus, Mist, anything. It is the client that chooses which AP it connects to. You can do stuff to make the client want to choose an AP, but it is the client, the device, the iPhone, the barcode scanner, the laptop. It is the client that makes the choice. Everybody get it? The client will collect a list of SSIDs. It will collect a list of SSIDs on the mapping access points and their signal strength, and it will choose one, only one. Okay? The Highlander movie, there can be only one. The client chooses one access point and connects to it. And what it does is it authenticates. Now, you're all security people-ish. Some of you may be more experienced, some less experienced. This has got nothing to do with security, right? knock, 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 can I come in? The first authentication phase is knock, 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 can I come in? And literally the answer is yes, that's all it is. Then you do an association where you belong. You are now bound to that access point. Now you do security, okay? So the first authentication has got nothing to do with security. It used to be used web, but you shouldn't be using web now. If you are using web, I will name and shame you. You should not be using web today, okay? Right? Really, really, you shouldn't be doing that. It takes about 10 minutes to break web on a bad day. So the history of web, it was easy to break. To fix web, the Wi-Fi Alliance brought out WPA. It was always meant to be a short-term fix to web. So you should not be using WPA today. You should be using, as a bare minimum, WPA 2. Okay? And the barcode scanners in the warehouse only support web is not a good answer. But then again, you might say, well, I don't really care if you break into my wireless network and you know how many oranges I have in the store in the grocery, right? So the security defense has to match the importance of the data. So if you're using web and you just use it for barcode scanning of counter product, I still think you shouldn't be doing it, but anyway. But you'll be surprised. There are still people in the world today in the United States that are still using WPA and web, okay? We need to stop that. Remember, I told you, I don't believe we are paranoid enough. And WPA3 is our hero. It will save us from everything, right? It is the Superman of security. So as I mentioned to you, you start off in a state of disconnection. First thing you do is you authenticate. The only choice we have is open. Open authentication is the only choice we have. Actually, I'll stay here and use my mouse. Open authentication is the only choice we have today. Then you associate, and you are given an association ID, okay? You now belong to the network. Now you choose security. The two options are none, you don't use security, or you use security, okay? Now, without security is not necessarily a bad thing. When you go to Starbucks, okay, or when you go to the airport, or when you go to a hotel, you have free Wi-Fi. Well, they don't usually give you a passphrase. So that is where you may have open Wi-Fi. And it's not really, really open. It usually, when you open a web browser, you get a captive portal that says, hey, read this, click the checkbox, type in your email, buy some credit or something like that. All right, so without security is not, and I'm going to speed up because you can read this later and I want to get to the good bits. Guest networks, all right? Typically guest networks are without security. Usually you use some kind of captive portal, but you should never have no security. If I break into the Pentagon on your free Wi-Fi, whose fault is it? Does anybody know the answer to that question? The exact answer to that question. If I break into the Pentagon on your open network, whose fault is it? The answer, surprisingly, is it depends what state you live in. And it can go back to land law from the old days. If you're in Texas, the judge will be like, you know, if you shoot at someone in Texas because they walked on your land, the judge is like, well, you shouldn't have walked on their land. You should know that. If you shoot at someone in California because they walked on your land, the judge is like, you can't go around shooting at people. And this old land law comes in today. So in Texas, and I'm not a legal expert, don't take my word for it. In some states, the authorities are, well, you shouldn't have broken into her network. It's your fault. In other states, authorities are, well, you shouldn't have left your door open. You should have secured your network. Do you all understand? So this is a very gray area. So be very careful about completely open networks. Always have at least a pop-up that pops up and says, I promise not to be bad. And then that's the get out of jail free. Always take legal advice on anything Phil says, okay? Because Phil is not a legal expert. There are two ways to use Wi-Fi security. Personal, it's called that because it's really designed for personal use at home. It should not be used outside the home. Enterprise. How many of you use, don't answer this question. Let me give you a heads up. Don't put your hand up. How many of you use personal in the office? None of you. Good. Don't answer that question. Right? You're with me? Some of the best security sessions you can go to is like what do you call it? When you look at getting, I forgot the name of it. When you look at convincing people, you know, wearing the outfit, elevator shaft outfit or whatever. And when you fool people and thinking you're working on something, I've completely gone the blank of the name, but you know, anybody remember it? What's it called? When you worm your way in.
Social engineering?
Social engineering, thank you. I could not remember the name, but social engineering, some of those talks are the best. And just because I'm up here as a security expert and I tell you to do something, you really shouldn't do it. You should go and check twice, all right? Especially when money's involved. All right, so a bit more detail. If you don't use security, you should not leave it like that. You should at least use some kind of captive portal construct. Okay, where when they open the web browser, it comes up and says, hey, I promise to be good, or pay some money, or enter your username, or enter a telephone number or an email address. And over here, then we have personal security and we have enterprise security. Now, only personal and enterprise use any form of encryption. It's very important you understand that, right? They do the four-way handshake and they use encryption. Okay, so pre-shared key is where you put a passphrase, may the force be with you, on the access point, and you put a password, may the force be with you, on the client. That passphrase is mixed 4,096 times with the SSID to create a unique pre-shared key for that access point, for that network, right? Personal, also known as pre-shared key, they use a common passphrase. It's entered manually or calculated from an entered common passphrase. Everyone who knows the passphrase can access the network. And everyone who knows the password can de-encrypt the traffic, right? So if you are on the same pre-shared network as me, is there one there? Do we have one there? Okay, if you are doing something you shouldn't be doing, I can capture traffic and I can decode it. Hopefully you're smart enough to use a VPN, use HTTPS, and use SSH. If you are telnetting into your office network, don't do that, okay? So use secondary encryption. VPN, always use a VPN when you're outside the office, okay? This is perfectly safe to do personal. Pause for dramatic effect. As long as, and you should laugh now. So how many of you use pre-shared key, but aren't going to put your hand up, right? How many of you change your password every 30 days? Don't lie to me. No, you don't. You don't, do you? No. How many of you have like never changed the password on the pre-shared key? Yeah. And you're not alone. That's the point, right? How many of you change the password when someone leaves the company? Oh, never thought of that.
They don't let me.
They don't let you change the password. Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely right.
Just offboard them quickly and legal hold the computer. Right.
They can now sit outside and still connect to the network, right? Now, if you told your boss that Phil still has his access key and he can walk in the building, your boss would be horrified and do something about it. But when you tell your boss, him or her, that, well, they can still connect the network, it'll be okay. They can't get the network from outside the building. Oh, we had that conversation, didn't we? You got to use a serious level of length and complexity. Now, this is a problem, right? You should use a 26 character, non-repeating with alphanumeric and special character mix. When you enforce that, what's the very first thing people will do? They'll write it down on a yellow sticky and put it under the keyboard, right? And so even though now you've got a 25 character password, you've made your network infinitely less secure because you made it too complex and people write it on a yellow sticky. I've been in companies where the password is on a yellow sticky stuck on the monitor. It's not even hidden under the keyboard, all right? Okay. Length is better than complex. You are actually better off using, well, you can't use may the force be with you because that's common, right? But umbrella, planet, Pacific. Umbrella, planet, Pacific, meter. 4 words that only you know is better than an 8-character uppercase, lowercase, numerical password. Okay? But of course, you mustn't forget it. Okay. The thing is, all of these things, look, they are very, very inconvenient. Altogether, inconvenient is a hacker's best friend. Why won't they let you change the password, sir? Because it's very inconvenient, right? There you go. Yeah, that's my point.
Hire up people who don't understand it,
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
who don't want to have to change their password.
Yes. The alternative to the passphrase, and this is the securest thing we can do today, without going to WPA3, that's another story, is WPA2 Enterprise. And you use what's called 802.1x EAP radius, and you connect the client to a radius server, which usually, it doesn't have usernames on it anymore. It usually interfaces you to like Microsoft Active Directory, is one of the largest used in the world. So you will authenticate with your username and password to a Microsoft Active Directory server using the radius server. Okay. And in situations like this, you typically have a public certificate or some kind of certificate that is sent down, and it is used to validate the radius server. Okay. And make sure it's a real certificate that is validated. Never, ever click that checkbox. I call it the stupid button, okay? There's a checkbox in Microsoft that says, turn off certificate validation. WEP is more secure than you clicking that checkbox to turn off certificate validation, right? And if you want to talk about that, we can talk about that later. All right. I don't want to go into details about this, but essentially, if you have a passphrase, you have a pre-shared key. The pre-shared key is converted into a pairwise master key. Okay. If you are using WPA2 Enterprise, that's WPA2 Personal. WPA2 Enterprise uses 802.1x EAP radius, and it creates an MSK. The MSK is used to create the pairwise master key. The pairwise master key is shared between the client and the access point, along with the MAC address of the supplicant, the client, the MAC address of the access point, the authenticator, the supplicant's MAC address. Sorry, I think I said that wrong. A random number from the supplicant, the client, a random number from the access point, the MAC address of the supplicant, the MAC address of the access point. They're all mixed together and they create the pairwise transient key. And that gives you the key that will be used for encryption. Okay? But all I need to do is to capture the four-way handshake if I know your pre-shared key, and I can now create the pairwise transient key that you were using. Get it? Right? Okay. So very important. If you use WPA2 Personal, everyone, every time they connect, has the same pre-shared key. Therefore, they have the same PMK. If I break your passphrase, I own your network now, in the future, and in the past. That's very important because WPA3 stops that in its tracks. Short passphrases are very easy to crack. But if you use WPA2 Enterprise, everyone, every time they connect, has a unique MSK, master session key. Therefore, they have a unique pairwise master key. Everyone, every time you connect. You use WPA2 Enterprise, you come in at 9 o'clock, you do 1 hour's work, you disconnect, you go for a coffee, you come back, you reconnect, different PMK. So if I break your first PMK, I've only got 1 hour of usage out of you. Okay? Very important. Very important. Personal, if I break the PMK, I own the network. Enterprise, if I break the PMK, it's just not worth the effort because I own one station's communication for like half a day, maybe. Okay. All right. So what's wrong with Wi-Fi? It's the security we're using is 15 years old. Okay. So my name is Marco and the session is over. I need you all to leave now. If this was Wi-Fi, you'd all go, oh, okay, and you'd all leave. Right? I'm obviously not Marco. The session obviously isn't over, and I don't want you to leave. But Wi-Fi doesn't know that. So I can pretend to be your access point, and I can say the session is over. I want you all to leave. And all your clients go, okay, and they leave. Right? That's simple. And that's very easy to do. You can do attacks on the four-way handshake. You can capture the four-way handshake, and you can then attack it offline. You don't even need to be in the vicinity. When you want to break into a network using some kind of password cracking tool, you've got to be on the network. When you want to break into a Wi-Fi network using a password cracking tool, you can be on the beach drinking a cocktail or at home with a coffee. Okay. Once you know the pre-shared key, you are the king of the network. Wi-Fi happily lets you not use security. Okay. PSK can be easy. If this is your pre-shared key, please change it very, very quickly. It's not very secure. And of course, we had the crack hack that brought in hacks to shorten the hacks to break the networks, right? I'll leave it at that. All right. Alternatives, today we are seeing what Phil, I call IT pre-shed key. Only the IT department knows the pre-shed key. So you take your device to them, they onboard your device and you walk away. One of the beauties of this is if someone leaves the company, you can just, you still need to offboard them as they leave the company. Okay, you need to decommission their devices. You still should use a serious level of length and complexity, but everybody has to go to IT for onboarding and offboarding. And what happens if they leave and they haven't been offboarded? Well, now the PSK is compromised, right? So this is better, but it's inconvenient. Today they're using personal pre-shed keys, and there are many variations of these. This is not as easy as it first appears. It's not as simply as putting 138 passphrases on a network. It's not that simple. The more advanced models are where you need like a server to do it, okay? But the beauty of this is if someone leaves the company, you just disable that pre-shed key, okay? This is used for IoT devices. IoT devices, they will connect to the same SSID, but they will use a different pre-shed key that will identify them as IoT devices. Nice and simple, okay? A great solution. It doesn't work so well with WPA3 today. WPA3 is the great savior of most of our requirements, but if you are using personal pre-shed key and all its variety, Cisco calls it PPSK, IPSK, other vendors call it MPSK, and so on. Just be aware that it's a solution, but it still has holes in it, right? And so if I break the pre-shed key, I've only broken one part of the network. That's the idea. Maybe like students in dormitories, each student will have their own pre-shed key. They will allow them to connect their essential equipment like their laptop, their phone, their watch, their Xbox, and so on and so forth, their printer to the network. All right, so EAP Radius, it uses the EAP Radius protocol. That's an advanced secure protocol that is pretty much unbreakable. He tries to keep straight face what he says. So enterprise, WPA2 enterprise uses EAP or Radius. It needs certificates or Cisco proprietary fast. Devices will need to be onboarded. All of this can be very inconvenient. Inconvenience is arguably the safest mode of Wi-Fi today. Pause. When configured correctly, all right? I can totally break WPA2. I might show you later if we have time. Totally. Now, let me explain something. I do not break WPA2, right? I social engineer a stupid user to click a button that says, yes, install the new certificate. Does everybody get that? So remember, Mrs. Gump said, you can't fix stupid. I cannot break WPA2 enterprise, but I can socially engineer the crap out of it, if you allow me to. Does that make sense? And that's very important to understand. All right, problems with enterprise. Users can simply click continue or OK when presented with an invalid certificate. Now, shout out to Google. I did this in a class a couple of months ago, and the guy tried it with his Google Pixel, and the Google Pixel literally went, Dave, I'm not allowing you to do that from 2001. It was like, dude, I'm not letting you install this new certificate. No, I'm not letting you do it. So the Google Pixel, once he was onboarded, hesitated to let him install a new certificate. And so all that's stopping me breaking into your network is you clicking OK when you get presented with an invalid certificate. Right? And we haven't got time to do this on this class in too much detail, but when I created the new certificate, I used a template with the utility to make it look like the old certificate. Okay. And what I do is when I onboard you all to my WPA2 enterprise system, I tell you to accept the certificate that you are presented with. And most people say, when you come into the building, when you get added, accept the certificate. And then most companies say, never, ever, ever accept the certificate ever again. And that's just stupid. Users don't know the difference, right? Either onboard them or don't. But if you let them install the certificate the first time, they will install the certificate the second time, even though you've told them not to. Okay, and that's all I need. And now you're in. All of these, oh, by the way, you can not allow this. If you're on, Microsoft has group policies, other systems of MDM control, where it will not allow you to accept a different certificate when presented. You onboard them with a certificate, that's it. And that stops this attack dead. Okay, this attack relies on a user going, sure, I'll install that new certificate from what looks like the old one. And then you are no longer connected to the AP, you're connected to my AP. Cool. Right. Surely it's, I'm gonna rush up because I want to do some attacks. Surely it's not that easy to break. So first of all, it's difficult to capture, right? Nope. Very easy to do, based on your chipset. Intel, not always the best chipset to use to try and capture. And that's the chipset that's in your Dells, I believe, most likely. Okay. So that's a lot to do. And Windows doesn't let you do capture easily. There are ways around it. You've got to install special drivers. It's becoming more easy to do on 2.4, 5, and 6 gigahertz. I believe there are AC drivers up now for Kali Linux. So they're caught up. Okay. Anybody used Wireshark on Ethernet? Yeah. You know you've got to put the interface into promiscuous mode because the interface will only capture traffic meant for that interface, right? So you put the interface into promiscuous mode. Not good enough on Wi-Fi. Promiscuous is not good enough. It'll only allow you to capture data on your SSID. You need monitor mode, and that's the problem. Microsoft will not let you put the interface in monitor mode on Windows. Apple will not let you put the iPad or the iPhone in monitor mode on the Apple device. Okay, and that's why it's a problem on Windows and Apple mobile devices. Okay, Microsoft limits monitor mode. So here's the AirCrack suite. You need this. If you get Kali Linux, it's already installed. This is literally the foundation of every wireless attack that I know of. There's probably a couple that you can mention that don't use this, but M1 utilities. Quick story for you. I was at a hacking session at Black Hat several years ago, and the instructor introduces this guy, I've forgotten his name, completely got a blank in his name, introduced Mr. Smith, right? And we were all like, hello. And he's like, guys. And he introduced his name. He's like, guys, the guy who wrote M1 utilities. We were all like, oh, we were all big fans then. But no one knew who he was. He's just this unassuming guy, but he wrote and still does write the M1 utilities. All right, so I can do a quick demo for you. Can we stop the recording? Have a quick coffee break. It's continue a few minutes to get this set up, Marco.
Ready?
So just to let you know, guys and gals, some of you really need to clear out your, I'm not going to name names, but some of you really need to clear out your devices looking for access points. I got a name of some very interesting access points, SSIDs, somebody is looking for. I'm not going to name it, but you really need to clear out your iPhone, iPads, Androids, and PCs, right? I'm not going to name it. I don't embarrass anybody, but yeah.
How many devices?
Sorry?
How many devices?
I've only found one, but it's like,
Oh, that's
I'm
one.
not an expert, but it sounds like a military contractor type of name. So you probably should clear that out.
Are you looking right now the Starbucks one or the Fusion, or you're talking in general?
Oh no, it just somebody just started advertising, are you out there, network name? And I thought, that's a very interesting network name. I don't bet your boss doesn't know you do that. So quick talk. if I want to break into a police station, I'm gonna go down the donut shop, right? I'm not being mean.
Hi, guys, you're
I'm gonna go to the donut shop
Talking
and
on
I'm
the
gonna sit up to
backside.
the donut shop and listen for what networks they advertise for, right? And I'm gonna use Wiggle to find those networks. You with me? And part of the advance, we're not going to talk about this today, but part of the advanced content has got a hard handshake. When you advertise for police department, if I say I'm here, you will present a four-way handshake to me. I'll present a false one to you, but you'll send a real one to me. And with that information, I can decrypt the pre-shared key. Right? And if you want to know more about that, we'll talk later. All right. Are we back on again?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So I just want to do a quick demo of something called Aerodump. And this is no big deal. This is real easy to do, all right? I'm going to simply run Aerodump and Aerodump. And again, just to let you know, Aerodump will reveal what it reveals, all right? If it reveals what you're probing for, it's not my fault. You shouldn't be probing for it.
How do you bring that up?
You just I'll talk about that later. So I had to set up M1NG to convert one of the interfaces into monitor mode. And let me show you what I did. Okay. I started Kali Linux. I typed in M1NG start. If you want to do it, M1NG start. If you run,
Can you finish the phone?
probably.
Are you using Mac or Windows?
This is actually Linux.
Control.
If anyone knows, actually I can do control up arrow, can I?
Yeah, control shift.
Control plus?
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Yeah,
See, I forgot how much I love Linux. Thank you. I forgot. I should have known that. That's an Apple thing, isn't it? So all I did was can you see that clearly? I can make it stupidly big. So what I'm doing now is I'm doing, in the bottom left hand corner there, look, I'm just doing M1NG, right? Okay. And it shows me all the interfaces that I have connected. And all I did was, again, we'll go to this later when we come to it. But if you want to play, all I did was I did a sudo M1NG start WLAN 1. And that converts wireless LAN interface number 1 into monitor mode. And so now what I do is I say sudo, because in the latest version of Kali, you have to sudo everything. And you all know why, right? Because you can do sudo bash, and you haven't got to sudo everything, but it's frowned upon. Sudo Aerodump NG wireless LAN 1 mod. I'm running Aerodump. It's going to dump what's going on in the airspace. Now, on the bottom of the screen are probes. There you go. Somebody is probing for something interesting. I don't know if you caught it then. Somebody is probing for something. Okay. So this is what's going on. It's just freely picking up all the beacons that are being jumping around the channels, picking up all the beacons that are being transmitted, okay, from all the APs. Now, remember, I've got some weird stuff going on. I've probably got 17 of the APs, SSIDs you can see in this room at the moment are me, right? Okay, so be it. But that's just Aerodump. It's that simple. Okay, so I can listen to you and look at what you're doing just by running this utility on Kali Linux. I can see what SSIDs are out there. I can see what form of encryption they are using, what form of encryption cipher, WPA2 or whatever. I've not seen any WEPs, which is good. What sort of authentication they are using. Most of them are using pre-shared key. Okay. Somebody is trying to hide. You see that one there, length 0? Somebody is hiding their beacons, but they aren't really hiding their beacons. You'll find out in a minute. All right. So again, I want to get to the theory because I want to get all the fun stuff. If I'm going too fast, please stop me. If I'm going too slow, time to speed up. And we're about an hour in, so I want to speed up now. So here's some commands. Again, I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you this PDF, right? There's some useful commands to test what chipset you are using. One of the best commands to use is M1NG. M1NG will tell you what chipset you're using. Okay. Again, I'm not going to demo these. You can play with these later. So there's some useful commands for finding out stuff about the interface and the wireless interface. IW config, IW, IF config are all useful. Have a play with them. You can test the card. You can type in this command. If you type in this command and it comes up and says injection is working, that means that your interface is compatible with AirMon-NG. Pretty much so. If it doesn't give you this command, it means it's not. And again, Intel drivers, and it's more to do with Kali Linux than Intel. Okay, I forget the other brand. I think it's I forget which one, but one of the reasons, if I just do AirMon-NG really quickly, you can see the chipset on the right. If you've got a Ralink technology card, you can do what you like with it. Okay, if you get Atheros or Intel, chances are Kali Linux doesn't have the drivers to support it. And it's just because Kali Linux doesn't have the drivers to support it, that's all. Okay. And the problem is, you want to convert your Dell or your Lenovo over, it's probably got a Intel chip in it. That's the problem. Okay. So that's why I like these. So anything with a Ralink chipset. All right. Thank you. What do I need to attack? You just need to capture the four-way handshake. That's really difficult, isn't it? No. Anybody own a Punagotchi? Punagotchis are awesome. If you don't, you've got to go get one. This little device, I brought two of them with me. You just plug it into it. This is plugged into a little battery pack. I built one on a USB plug-in. The other ones they run off a battery. But this particular, and I built it on the Raspberry Pi W. I built it on the Raspberry Pi 4 as well, and the Raspberry Pi 3. I just need a few adapter with a built-in screen. I didn't bring them because it just comes stuff. But this little guy, the Punagotchi, literally captures four-way handshakes. Now be careful. If you don't take this into airports, right? Because the Punagotchi will de-authenticate people to try and get a four-way handshake. It could get you in trouble. You can actually put it in polite mode and it will not do that. If you put it into naughty mode, it will start capturing all sorts of things. If you put it in, and it will force people to reconnect. So if I want to sit there and wait for a four-way handshake, if I'm not seeing four-way handshakes, if I de-authenticate you, hey Bob, disconnect. Okay, Bob's going to immediately reconnect. And what's the first thing Bob's going to do? Send a four-way handshake. Mission accomplished. Right. So one of the easiest ways to get four-way handshakes is to de-authenticate people off a network, which they'll immediately reconnect to, thus sending a four-way handshake. Warning: this will aggressively attack if you put it in rude mode, or I forget what it's called, rude mode or nasty mode or something. If you put it into nice mode, okay, it will only capture four-way handshakes that pass. It will not create four-way handshakes. Okay, anything you want to know? We did a talk on this in 2020. If you remember, Marco, it's on the video server, on the YouTube video server. I did a talk on this. I actually went on a bit, kept asking questions. So it's a long talk. It's all about how to build a Punagotchi. And who's got a flipper? Everybody should have a flipper. Right. You can plug in a little wireless extension onto it to do a lot of the attacks that I'm talking about today. Very easy to do. I actually bought the black flipper, the black and orange one. Apparently those are really in demand. I've seen them go for like $1,000 on like eBay and things. And I'm like, no, I love it too much. Right, I want to show you this quickly. This is a little utility that we have. I will apologize for the mess of my desktop. You've got a clean desktop, you're not working hard enough, right? I'm actually going to do this so you can't see all the stuff that's on my desktop because it's on video. Not that I don't trust you, it's just that I don't trust you in a loving kind of way. This is, if you're a Mac user, this is not cheap, okay? But oh, it's not even on that screen. Oh, okay. Nope. This is a little utility called Wi-Fi Explorer 3. Now, this is written by a guy called Adrian Granados. And here's this little utility. If you look this little utility up here, it tells me who I'm connected to, at what channel bonding, what frequency, what signal strength, what speed, and everything. This is another little utility from the same guy, right? Great little Apple utility. He is about to launch this on Windows, hopefully in the next few months or so. Now this shows me all, this is the same as Aerodump, only it's in color, okay? But it also goes deeper than Aerodump. So for example, let's look at Cisco Meraki, and let's look at the Mer. No, let's not. Let's look at something a bit more. Let's look at WPC-AX2. Okay. There's the SSID. There's everything you need to know about it. It's neg 22 dBm because I'm like a foot away from it. It's using WPA3 ASAE. There's another one called TP-Link something. It's using WPA2. Okay. Let's go look at advanced details and let's scroll down to element number 48, which is the robust secure network element. And everything I need to know about security on this network is listed there. Everything. And Adrian kindly translates it for us. It is using CCNP 128 pairwise cipher with a pre-shared key. You see it? So now I know how to attack this SSID because the SSID is advertising what it's doing so people can connect to it. Right? I think somewhere I thought I had, they got 802.1x. Oh, the Hacker Dojo is using 802.1x. They're using full-on 802.1x with a CCNP 128 encryption. So I know they're using 802.1x. WPA2. Okay. They're not using management frame protection. So that's the end of the session. Everybody has to leave now. You all get up and leave. Why? Because you're not using management frame protection. If you were using management frame protection and I said, hey guys, my name's Marco, that's the end of the section, you have to leave now, you'd be like, oh no, it isn't, because you didn't use the secret password. Right? Okay. So you should turn on protected management frames. You should turn on WPA3. Why don't you? Because all the old crappy clients you have don't support it. Maybe you should upgrade. I'm being mean here. Maybe you should upgrade the old crappy clients you have in the name of security. Maybe, just say it. Okay. And but what was it you said? They won't let me, right? They won't let me, right? Any of you ever banged your head against the wall because some of your manager told you to go and do that is going to make the network safer? And you're like, no. But
The wall would fall down.
the wall would fall down, right? But this is a nice little utility. All right, what else we got? I think I put it behind me.
I don't know the Hacker Dojo free really is Hacker Dojo free.
Sorry?
I don't know the Hacker Dojo free right now really is.
Absolutely. How do you know it's not me? Absolutely. Now you're thinking. Remember I told you, you're not paranoid enough? You are becoming more paranoid, which is a good thing in security. Might lose your friends, but it's good in security, right? Oh, okay. Okay, that works. I showed you that. Quick demo for you. This is a little something. Now, this is not the cheap version. This is quite expensive now. This is an Ekahau Sidekick. And what the Sidekick will do for us, it will do some. Will do some magic for us. But what the Sidekick does is it reveals the going on in the airspace around us, which is very, very important. This is something called a spectrum analyzer. Now, this is a very, very good one. And it's quite expensive. There are $500 ones you can buy that show similar levels of information, but this is a particularly good one. And there, ladies and gentlemen, is the frequency space around it. 6 gigahertz, that's probably me. That's my Meraki at 6 gigahertz. And 2.4 gigahertz. 2.4 gigahertz, I assume, is awful. Now, that is probably because I'm near the APs on the floor. That's all that is. There's the goings on 2.4 gigahertz. Cool, fun, right? So what can we do about it then? We have other tools. This is a little tool that does effectively a jam. I'll move back to that. Let me know when. There's a jam. What it'll do, I can basically jam channel 1. I'm not really jamming it. What I'm doing on channel 1 is transmitting without using the rules of Wi-Fi. So if I do this, actually I'll channel 1. Next. See it? It's just congesting up network 1, and I'll stop it now. Marco's gone. Okay. I'm not going to do the next demo on a recording. I'm not doing it on recording, so because technically I shouldn't. But what I can do with this utility, if I wanted to, is I can simulate a radar, weather radar at an airport. And I can turn that on, and as soon as I do it, all the APs all the APs in that environment will leave. They have to leave the channel because they're not allowed to be on the channel. Because we have squatters' rights in the middle 16 channels in Uni 2. We're allowed to use it as long as the owners aren't at home. Well, the owners, one of the most well-known owners, are Terminal Doppler Weather Radar. Okay, and Terminal Doppler Weather Radar operates anywhere in Europe. It operates mainly here. So if I turn this on, it would simulate a radar event, which would cause these to leave the channel. And for example, you can buy jamming devices that will jam up this entire frequency and buy them on the internet. They're illegal to use. Okay, and so I wouldn't buy one. Okay, because well, actually, they're illegal to sell. They're not illegal to use. They're not illegal to own. But they're illegal to use to jam someone. And I think they're illegal to sell in the United States. But they're not illegal to buy in the United States. You get it? Now, from what I said to you earlier, you can buy them. But if you do it for educational purposes in your office environment, you can use them, right? But don't touch the ones that come with, like, don't start jamming 5G, 4G. Don't buy those. That would be very, very stupid to do. Okay? So you can detect if someone is messing with you by using something like this little device. Okay? All right. What else we got? And so radar. Yeah, I can't demo these. That would be very foolish. It takes years to break, right? Nope. Long time ago, Uncle Phil became an Ethereum miner. He decided to mine Ethereum. Okay, so he built an Ethereum miner made out of 1050 graphics cards. Cost about $2,000. I've had it for about 10 years now. I made back the money that I spent on it. And if you talk to my wife, she'd be like, did you mind him spending money on this? She'd be like, well, it's cheaper than golf and I got to see him on weekends. All right. And so it doesn't really make any, it doesn't even make back today the money that I would use on the electric. Okay, so it's not very good at Ethereum miner. But what it's good at is doing math. Anybody notice I said math then? Not maths. Sorry, I said English grammar joke. Anybody get my English grammar joke? Thank you very much. It's good at doing math, right? So what happens is when I run a utility on this, it takes the search space and it farms it out to each of the graphics cards. Okay, and the graphics cards churn and do the maths. So remember what I said to you. Pre-shared key, take the passphrase, mix it 4,096 times with the SSID, create the PMK, test the PMK versus a four-way handshake. Okay, if it passes, I've just guessed the password. Now there's two ways to do this, and we spoke with this earlier, a dictionary attack, where you actually, it's got nothing to do with a dictionary, like the Oxford English or Webster's, whatever. A dictionary is a list of words, okay? And so a dictionary attack is you get out of a dictionary or you make one and you do the attack, and if the word is in the dictionary, it cracks it. And I can show you this later. I did it on a little, one of the devices down here, the password is Candy123 with a capital C. Capital C, A-N-D-Y, 123. Uppercase, lowercase numbers, right? It took my Kali Linux on my Raspberry Pi 5 minutes to search the dictionary. It took my Kali Linux on my MacBook, my old MacBook, 3 minutes to search it, to search a dictionary file, right? Now, there also exists something called a brute force attack, where I go through every possible character combination on 8 characters, right? And I run Candy123 on this. I wanted to see how long it would take for this, using Hashcat, just good old-fashioned Hashcat, how long it would take for this to break it. Anybody want to guess how long it took? It took 25 seconds to do a brute force attack with uppercase, lowercase, and now it was Candy with a capital C, which is very early on in the search space. Maybe I got lucky. I went out I let it run. I went out for a coffee. I came back. It had stopped. I thought it was broken. It literally said the password's Candy123 bro. 26 seconds. Now, if I tried it with a 9-character password, it would take like 3 days. If I tried it with a 10-character password, it would take a month. If I tried it with 11, you see how this works? If I tried it with an 18-character password, I believe the search space says it's going to take 18 million years. That's why you shouldn't be using 8-character passwords on your Wi-Fi today. All right? Pacific, Association, Planet, House. Those are 4 good words that you can easily remember. Write them down, stick them in your safe. What do you mean you haven't got a safe? Stick them down, write it on your safe. Okay, keep them safe out of the way. How many of you have kids? I bet you $50 now, all your kids' friends know your home pre-shared key password. You with me? Yeah, the kids at a sleepover? Yeah. All their friends know your home Wi-Fi password. Just telling you. Right? So you need to be a little bit more paranoid. Okay. So I call it the Kraken. I can do a demo if anybody wants it maybe later. I can show you. Literally 25 seconds, it breaks Candy123. Is there hope? There must be a solution, right? We're sending people to Mars. We've got AI and robots and everything. And AI is our best friend and our worst enemy. That's another talk for the day. Okay. AI will help hackers and security professionals. Yeah, use strong and long passwords. That's all, folks. So long comes WPA3. Magic unicorns and rainbows and all there. And the world is a better place. I'm not going to say much about WPA3. I am going to do a talk at the session about why you should use WPA3, how it's going to save us from ourselves. WPA3 comes with something called OWE, opportunistic wireless encryption. If you have an open network, you still get encryption. That deserves a round of applause. Thank you, OWE. Thank you, WPA3, right? We get encryption on an open network at the coffee shop. Basically, WPA3 fixes all the problems with WPA2 when configured correctly, right? Like super mega awesome talks in December. All right, so summary of the options available today for Wi-Fi. Basically, hackers can break all of these. I can break all of these. WEP, WPA, WPA2 person. Let me say it again. Hackers and I can break all of these. Phil, isn't that the entire list you just gave us? Yes, it is. Okay. Pause for dramatic effect. Hold on. If configured incorrectly. Okay, if you configure WPA2 enterprise correctly, we can't touch it. If you configure WPA3 personal correctly, we can't touch it. If you configure WPA3 enterprise correctly, we can't touch it. Yes, sir.
What about the certificate X509 based security?
That's WPA2 enterprise, WPA3 enterprise. That's enterprise. Yeah, same thing. So, gentlemen, just mentioned the standard that's using certificates in WPA 2 or 3 enterprise. Yes, sir.
How do you configure it correctly, or more likely, what are the common mistakes to not be configured correctly?
Allowing people to turn off validation of certificates, allowing people to install a new certificate when presented by the system. WPA3 personal, any use of transition mode shouldn't be used. And I'm got a limb there, and a lot of people are going to watch this and argue with me. Transition mode should not be used. So what's transition mode? So WPA3 fixes all, this is the high level version, fixes all of our problems. Transition mode is for all those devices who can't support WPA3 to say, hey, I don't support WPA3. So what does transition mode do? Turns off WPA3. It's not a good idea. What's the point of turning on WPA3 if you're letting people, all I've got to do, okay, I've done this, okay? I have, in one of the longer sessions that I've done, I've shown this to people. We have configured a WPA3 network in transition mode, okay? And it doesn't work. It does not allow you in, okay? I've then jammed the WPA3 network, and I've then created a WPA3 transition mode in WPA2 mode on my laptop. And all those WPA3 clients say, hey, I want to connect to WPA3. And they say, oh, I don't support WPA3. Oh, we'll do WPA2 then. And I completely guess there, and I completely calculate their passphrase. So if you turn on transition mode, it's creating a chink in your armor, okay? So what I suggest to fix that is something you'll have to come along to the next session to learn about. All right. That's very important. We can talk about it. We will talk about it in the next session, how to properly configure WPA3. And the answer is actually very simple on WPA3, and how to not make it so you have chinks in your armor, so little errors in your armor. So I'm going to run through this. So use the wireless intrusion protection service, okay? Use DNS, DNS filtering, DNS security like Cisco Umbrella or something. Turn on protected management frames and WPA3, okay? Do not use transition mode. I have to do this with a caveat, and I don't want to give too much away. Do not turn only transition mode on your WPA3 network. There are other steps you need to do. I don't want to steal away from my next talk, right? Use a different SSID for every frequency you have. Don't have the same SSID on 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. 6 gigahertz may change that. Just be aware, right? 6 gigahertz, we're finding that there are certain rules you have to bend when it comes to Wi-Fi rules. But Phil, all of these are so inconvenient. Convenient is a hacker's best friend, remember? Microsoft has come out now and says you probably shouldn't be using EAP chat version 2 anymore. So today we recommend you use TLS-based options, where the client and the Radius server has a certificate. When configured correctly, that is as unbreakable as you can get. I'm not going to say it's unbreakable, because someone's going to do something in a month's time and people are going to say, Phil, you said it. Yeah, it's as unbreakable as we can possibly get today, right? But Microsoft has come out now and said, you know, MS Chat version 2, we probably should move away from that now. That's inside WPA2 Enterprise. Okay, so blah, blah, blah. Clear up your probes. And I think be a bit more paranoid, okay? Come and learn some more. We do lots of courses on all sorts of types of security. I mentioned CISSP here. This is not as technical, but this is the language that executives speak, right? If you are a certified ethical hacker and a Cisco CCIE security, and you go in for a job, if the manager's got a CISSP, they're going to quiz you and ask you questions. If you go into CISSP, you probably take it to the pub and buy you a beer, because he knows you got the certification they've got. There is only one certification that I know of that will give you credit to become an advanced member of the IEEE, and that is CISSP. Right? It's not technical, but it's well renowned throughout the industry. Okay. Anybody got a CISSP? Cool, respect. Yeah. It's well respected in the industry. All right, I think that's us done. Any questions? That's it. So now I want to do some labs and let you attack on things. And I think we need to stop the Marco. Can we stop the recording?
Quick question.